Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday self-healing class here at First Church of Religious Science, broadcasting from New York City. Whether you're with us tonight live on Zoom or watching our replay on YouTube or joining us on Facebook, however you happen to meet with us today, I'm honored to have you here. This is a special place, a sacred place where we come together to heal, to grow, and to lift each other up. This class tonight has a little sparkle, soulful smile and a wink. First of all, to Frank Sinatra, and a big embrace for your soul. Our title is I Did It My Way, and that was never a mistake. You know the line from Sinatra's song. I'm sure you've all heard it before. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. Well, tonight we're going to talk about those regrets a little, not to dwell on them, but to set them free. We're here to release old shame and claim a powerful truth. Maybe those things that happened to us weren't really mistakes at all. Maybe they were part of life's curriculum. Maybe they were the exact steps, every one of them, that you needed to go through to become who you are today. One of our beloved teachers, or my beloved teachers, was Dr. Bill T. Talaferro, and he always used to say, life is a big schoolhouse. He said, think of it that way. You're here to learn, and you're here to grow, and you're going to go through lots of lessons where you're going to stretch, but you're never going to stop learning. So today, or this evening, we're going to hold those lessons with tenderness, the lessons that we've had. Even the detours, even the moments where we might want to erase if we could. So we're going to explore how every step of our journey, even the ones that were tough or wobbly, has led you home to be who you are right now, to your true self. So let's get into it with open hearts. So let's start with a simple grounding truth. You didn't come to the planet to be perfect. You came here to be you, uniquely you. You came here to be real, to be human, to grow, and to be your own gloriously unique self. Dr. Bill's idea of life as a schoolhouse isn't just comforting, it's a shift in how we see ourselves, actually. So picture a schoolroom, an old-time one. There you are. If you mess up with a math problem, the teacher doesn't send you to the principal's office. She'll show you, or he'll show you where you're wrong, and give you a chance to try again, and probably cheer you on as you learn. You see, that's exactly how life works. Maybe you've made choices that didn't turn out the way you planned. Maybe you fell in love with someone and you felt heartbroken afterwards. Maybe you took a job or two that felt like a dead end, or stayed in a situation a bit too long, and now you regret it. Maybe you've walked away from something you later wondered, what if I had stayed? You see, those moments that we go through can feel heavy, like we flunked a test or something. But in the schoolhouse of spirit, there's no failing grades. I mean, we get feedback. Louise Hay, whose work we honor, we cherish this evening, taught us that every experience is a chance to learn. And she taught us that in You Can Heal Your Life. And she says, when you know better, when you really know better, you will do differently. You're not here to ace every moment. You're here to grow. You're here to unfold. You're here to become more of who you were meant to be. So those so-called mistakes, all of them are lessons in disguise, guiding you toward your higher truth. So let's pause for a moment and look way back to someone whose life continues to shape how we think about the truth of the soul's journey. I'm talking now, we're going to go back to the time of the Greeks, Socrates. So I mentioned Socrates in different lessons, but tonight I want to go just a touch deeper. Socrates wasn't just a curious man walking around ancient Athens asking questions. He became what was called the father of Western philosophy because he dared to ask the question of why. Not just about politics or ethics or human behavior, but Socrates would ask the question why about the deeper questions like, what is a good life? Or what does it mean to know yourself? What does it mean to know who you are? And see, we're always asking you to, we're hoping you come to understand who you really are in our classes. And he would ask, can a person live in alignment with their soul, even in a world that's broken? Over the temple of Apollo in Delphi, they had carved out 3 words, which are, know yourself. And Socrates took that very seriously. He believed that truth wasn't something that you memorize or handed by someone else. It had to be discovered within. In other words, you want to have your own experience. You discover it through reflection, through honest conversations, through facing your own illusions. And that made him dangerous at the time, because when you start asking these bigger and deeper questions, when you start challenging these comfortable fibs or lies that you've been nurturing, sometimes you make people uncomfortable. Socrates stood up for what he believed in, and in the end, it cost him his life. He was sentenced to death for corrupting the youth of Athens and refusing to stop teaching. But here's the part that moves me the most as I think about him. He accepted his fate with complete calm. He said, in essence, I would rather die staying true to myself than live by betraying what I know is right. You see, that's spiritual courage, to look to our own life not as a string of missteps, but look at our life as a classroom for the soul. Again, a schoolhouse where every lesson is important, even the ones that hurt. Like Socrates, we don't need to be perfect. We just need to be willing to know ourselves, to know the truth of who we are, and to live with a little bit more integrity, and to keep having an open heart and an open mind, to keep learning. At First Church, we're rooted in the teachings of religious science. So we will tell you things like there is one love, one mind, one energy. We hold powerful truths. We will tell you that you're always in the perfect place at the perfect time, doing the perfect thing. In other words, you're always in the right place. And I know that can sound interesting or wild, especially when life feels like it's a mess. Maybe you've had moments where you thought, boy, I blew it today, or I blew it with this situation, or, we have these conversations where we reject ourselves or what we've done. Or maybe you've had a relationship that just came to a miserable end, or crashed and burned. Or maybe you've been through financial situations that left you scrambling, or a time where you felt stuck in life, like you were going absolutely nowhere. Those moments can make you feel like you're lost. But here's the shift. When you look with spiritual eyes, you see that every single moment, even the messy ones, the humbling ones, have a purpose. Religious science teaches us that the universe is always working for our highest good. You think back, oh my God, that breakup. Well, that breakup taught you about your worth, most likely, where the financial struggle, it built in an inner awareness or a resilience, most likely, or that long pause in your life where nothing seemed to be happening. Well, that period of time was preparing you for what was next. You're never off course, even when it feels like you've taken the wrong turn. Every single step you take is shaping who you are becoming and meant to be. So think about it as though you're on a road trip. Sometimes on a road trip, you have to take a detour, and it feels like you're lost for a while. But then you find a beautiful view or a little diner that will change your day. Life's detours are a lot like that. They're not mistakes. You're always exactly where you need to be to learn what your soul came here to learn. Louise, of course, gave us a lifeline with her affirmation. I trust the process of life. She didn't say, I trust life when everything's smooth and easy. She said, I trust the process of life. And she said it clearly. She says, I trust the highs, I trust the lows, and I trust all those places in between. And so this is what we're called to do. Louise believed the universe is always unfolding for your good, for the greater good, even when the evidence isn't obvious. So think about a time when you were stuck. Think about a time when you regret what was going on. Maybe you moved to a new city and it didn't work out the way you thought, or maybe you were in a relationship that didn't work out the way you wanted. You trusted somebody who you felt let you down. Maybe you at some time said something that you really wished you could have taken back. In those moments, it's easy to think, I messed up, I really made a terrible mistake. But Louise would say, hold on, what if that wasn't that? What if it was your soul making a turn? Instead of beating yourself up, try reframing what you're saying. Try reframing it a little. For example, that city that you left, well, that city taught you something. I remember living in a couple of cities. I went there thinking that something was going to be there. They were detours, if I can think of them as that. But each of those places I lived really taught me some amazing things. So it taught me something. Maybe it was courage to choose again. Maybe it was something else. Or maybe in a relationship, you feel like someone betrayed you. But ultimately, that made you stronger. And it touched you and gave you something it gave you a different perspective. And that moment that you wish you could redo, as tough as it was, it might have helped you find your strength. It might have helped you find your voice. You see, those things really aren't mistakes. They're all part of your evolution and growth. Louise invites us to stop calling our past wrong. Stop judging it. Stop being critical and start seeing all of it as part of our unfolding. So let's borrow wisdom now from a poet who I use occasionally here, Mary Oliver, and her poem, The Journey. Mary Oliver writes, one day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice. And then she goes on to say, but you kept walking step by step until you found your own voice. That's what trusting the process looks like. It's not about getting everything right. It's about knowing that even the shaky steps are part of the path. I mentioned Frank Sinatra when I started out. In his famous song, My Way, he sings the lyric that I was reminded of today, where he said, yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off a bit more than I could chew. I'm pretty sure most of us can relate to that line. Maybe you've taken on a project, maybe you've taken on a person or a situation that completely overwhelmed you. Or maybe you said yes when you wish now that you had said no. Maybe you stayed too long, or possibly you left too soon and thought, what was I thinking? Why did I go? Why did I stay? That line, I bit off a bit more than I could chew, isn't about failure, really. It's about being human. It's about stretching. It's about growing, sometimes crashing, and still, in the end, finding your own way forward. Sinatra didn't sing about perfection. He sang about owning the journey, wobbles and all. There's something beautifully honest about that. He reminded us that it's okay to be bold, it's okay to take chances, and to live out loud. Even when things don't go as planned, that kind of self-acceptance is healing. It says, I lived, I tried, I learned, and I keep going. And now, let me offer you someone else, a very different kind of voice, who also lived in truth, or lived this truth in her own extraordinary way. Eleanor Roosevelt, someone most of you don't remember probably, except I'm sure you all know her name. Not everyone remembers what she stood for. She wasn't considered glamorous, and she wasn't seen as polished. People criticized the way she looked, her voice, her being very outspoken. She didn't fit the role of First Lady, yet in many ways she redefined it. She held press conferences, she wrote newspaper columns, she showed up at coal mines and hospitals, she spoke out on issues at a time where First Ladies didn't usually. And she did that decades before it was safe or popular to do so. And once she said, "You must do what you feel in your heart is right, for you'll be criticized no matter what you do anyway." Now, that's someone who has lived through public scrutiny and judgment. She lived through personal insecurity, and she still found her way. And maybe that's what we're all here to do, to walk our own path, even if it doesn't look perfect, even if it's messy, even if we get it wrong from time to time. Maybe that relationship that didn't work out, or that job that crashed, that version of yourself as you look back on now with a sigh, maybe that wasn't a mistake at all either. Maybe that was the moment your soul was learning to stand. We'll never know what might have happened if we'd turned left instead of right, but we can know this: we are still here, and we're still here unfolding, and Spirit has never stopped walking along with you. So let's shift our focus now. Let's shift from understanding the journey to releasing the weight we might still be carrying from the journey. So I'd like you to think of a choice that you made that didn't work out one time, or at least didn't work out the way you might have wanted it to. Maybe you didn't speak up when you feel you should have, or maybe you stayed silent a bit too long. Maybe you chose something out of fear, or maybe you were just doing the best you could at the time. And maybe with all of it, it still hurt. So let's think of that moment gently, not to relive it, certainly, not to shame ourselves in any way. But as we think of this moment, let it soften. Let ourselves see it now in a new light. And here's a question you can ask yourself that can open everything up. What if I stopped calling that time a mistake? What if I stopped thinking of it that way? Maybe that moment taught me what boundaries feel like. Maybe those moments cracked open your heart just a little, just enough for a new kind of compassion to grow for yourself or others. And maybe it brought you into this teaching or into this room. You see, you're not who you were back then. You've changed. You've grown, you've evolved. And the truth is, most of the time, you were just trying to survive with the tools that you had at the time. Louise often said, we're always doing the best that we can with the information understanding that we have, the awareness, the knowledge. So this evening, instead of labeling those moments as failures, let's call them our teachers. Those times in our life, those conversations, those events, we're all teachers. Dr. Bill used to say, this was teacher to you. He always would phrase it that way. Everything that went on in my life then, if I think of it that way, was there as a learning point. So let's bless them, one and all. Most of all, let's bless ourselves. Say this with me, out loud in your heart at least, or repeat. I forgive myself for not knowing then what I know now. That's a great one. I forgive myself for not knowing then what I know now. Even that was part of my unfolding. I bless the road that brought me here. I bless the road that brought me here. See, you can't go back and change the decisions you've made, but you can change the way you think about it. You can change the way you hold it. And that, my friends, is healing. So let's carry that truth with us into the next part of our journey. Now I'd like to take a moment or two to seal this idea. Not with more thinking, but with a little speaking, a little truth-telling, a little soul repair. If you're here with us live, say these affirmations aloud. If you're watching us on a replay, you can say them to yourself or whisper them. But however you say them, bring them into your heart. You've carried enough regret. You've carried a lot for a long time. And tonight we want to lay this stuff down. So repeat after me. I honor my past. I honor it. I release it. I bless my detours. Everyone, I bless my detours. I release regret. Again, I release regret. I trust the process of life. Again, I trust the process of life. Followed by, I did it my way, and Spirit never left me. Let's say that again, one more time. I did it my way, and Spirit never left me. You see, you're not behind and you're not broken. You're right on time, right on track, and you are fully loved. So let these ideas echo inside of you as we move forward together. I'm going to take it a little bit deeper now. If you're comfortable, you could close your eyes for a few moments, or at least soften your gaze if you're in a safe place to do so. And take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. Let your shoulders drop. Let your belly loosen. Let your breath be easy. I'd like you to imagine with me now that you're going to take a walk. Let's take ourselves to a quiet river, someplace beautiful where the water, you notice, is calm and steady. It knows exactly where it's going. Up ahead, there's a small boat waiting for you. It feels very safe. You're going to step into it. It's safe. It's solid. It's familiar. And you step in and you sit down, letting the current gently carry you forward. Not into danger. Let this little river carry you into your memory. Now you notice you're floating back to a moment you once called a mistake. It's a time where something didn't go the way you wanted it to, or the way you expected. Maybe you see yourself saying the wrong thing. Maybe you didn't say anything at all. Maybe you experienced something. Maybe you left. Or maybe in this place you stayed too long. Or maybe you see yourself shutting down. Or maybe you reached out to someone or something and you were hurt. Whatever it is, we look at the moment not to fix it, only to witness it. Again, you feel safe. Watch it like you're watching a movie. And now, see your younger self there. See that version of you doing the best you could at the time. Take a breath and let your heart soften. Now imagine a warm, beautiful, golden light appearing overhead. It begins to pour down, soft, steady, filling the entire scene with peace, filling your younger self with reassurance. That light is Spirit. It's the presence that never left you, not even then. Let that golden light wrap around that moment. See it wrapping around the whole thing. Let that light fill in any of the cracks. Let it dissolve any judgment. Let that light bless the path you have walked. And say quietly, inside or aloud to yourself, I understand now. I understand now. You are learning. You are still loved. And feel that light move into your heart now. Feel it move into your heart, washing away any leftover regret, remorse, shame. And let that light, let it affirm the truth. The truth is that you've grown. Let the light affirm that you've healed and that you're still unfolding. And when you're ready, let the boat gently float now forward, back to the present, carrying that light with you. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. You can wiggle your fingers or toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes, bring yourself and the softness, the clarity, and the strength of what you've just remembered. You're whole, you're held, and you're free to begin again. As we close this sacred time, let's affirm that there is only one life, one love, and that life is unfolding perfectly now, even through my questions, even through my regrets, even through the things I once called mistakes. I now release the idea that I have fallen behind in any way. I release the idea that I've missed my chance or my opportunity. I trust the process of life. I absolutely know that I'm guided by wisdom greater than my limited view. I know that every step I've taken, every single detour, every delay has brought me deeper into the truth of who I am, into the appreciation that I'm one with the one. So I bless my past, I honor my path, and I walk forward now with grace, with courage, and love. Spirit goes before me, all is well, and so it is. So, before we open up our Zoom room, I want to thank you all for being here. Here's a quiet moment where you can ask yourself, what has it been like being me this week? This is our question usually for Thursdays. What thoughts have I been living with? What stories have been running around in my mind in the background? Was my conversation kind? There's nobody nicer to be nicer to than you be nice to you, as I say from time to time. So what stories have been running around in the background of our minds on our playlist? Were they kind? Were they loving? Here's the thing we understand in this teaching, that we are cause to our own creation. So we're not saying that in any way to blame, but to remind us of our power. And the way that we speak to ourselves really matters. The way we carry our past matters also. And the way we choose to see ourselves right now matters most of all. So as we move into the second part of our gathering, you can answer any of those questions, or you can simply say hello. If you're from somewhere and you're new, please say hello, and wherever you're from, we'd love to say welcome. But most of all, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you, thank you. And so it is.